It looks like we're live.
Okay, well, if we are live, hello and welcome everybody to more Hearthstone. So, we have, in previous streams, defeated two of the wings of the Frozen Throne, or Ice Crown Citadel. And we're here to take on the final opponent, the Lich King. So, I'm Abyss Hunted. Joining me today is Omnicrom.
Hello, I'm Omnicrom.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably, if any of you guys saw Sly09 streaming this, you probably understand why he's sort of, I think, had enough of this. So, just the two of us today, but we'll be going against the Lich King and mashing our face into a wall. So, if you did see Sly09's streams, he faced the Lich King with Paladin, Warrior, and Hunter. So, that's the gimmick Blizzard announced. There's a different fight for each class you take in. So, today we're going to be playing classes that are not those three classes, so you guys can see some of the other fights, assuming you saw Slyo's stream, and if not, you can check it out on the stream archive. I guess oh, was it Shaman that slided? Okay, maybe it was Shaman. Okay, well, either way, I'll take votes in the chat while we watch this stuff for what classes you guys want to see played today, and I'll let you get a vote too, Omni.
Well, honestly, I'd like to see Warlock, if nothing else.
Okay, one vote for Warlock. So you guys in the chat can vote for whatever you want. So let's take a look at what the Lich King has to say here.
Shall I lay down Frostmourne and throw myself at your mercy? Spoiler, I will not.
Okay, so the Lich King.
You will beg for my mercy. You will press the concede button. And I will deny you.
Okay, so pay close attention to his unorthodox strategies. He's a cheat. Hero power, 2 mana, summon a 2/2 rule. Prizes: pack for beating him once, Prince Arthas Paladin hero for defeating him with all 9 classes. By the way, we're not doing all 9 classes today, but we'll do some. So,
We might even win a couple of times.
did I lose access to the chat, or...
The chat is just empty for me.
Chat's disappointed that you can still actually just click the concede button despite the Lich King's thread. So, you guys have any, class requests? Otherwise, we'll go with Omni's suggestion and try Warlock. I'll give maybe just another minute. Well, I don't see anything, so let's rock Warlock. Yeah, you want to tell us about the Lich King fight first? Or?
The Lich King is kind of interesting because he represents a couple of different things. First off, the Lich King is kind of, in some respects, the end of World of Warcraft being a sequel directly to Warcraft 3. So, World of Warcraft kind of didn't have like a real storyline for its vanilla release. It was just kind of an MMO because this was before the idea of MMOs having storylines. And then they had Burning Crusade. In Burning Crusade, the big villains were Kael'thas and Illidan, and those were two of the big villains who arose out of Warcraft 3. And, up until then, everyone is like, oh, we need to worry about the Lich King. The Lich King was the big villain who came out of Warcraft 3. The Lich King is scary. Like, the expansion to Warcraft 3 was called The Frozen Throne, which is about the ascendancy of Arthas to becoming full-on the Lich King from being a Death Knight. And so then we have Wrath of the Lich King, which is, again, the culmination of Warcraft 3's storyline. By the end of Warcraft 3, we have set up the Alliance and the Horde, and they're fighting each other. and we have also introduced the Draenei, and they've come in, and the Blood Elves, and they've come in. And we've basically, by the end of Wrath of the Lich King, fought all the main bad guys from Warcraft 3. So what do you do from there? And first expansion, they said, well, let's go into the lore and grab another villain. And the second expansion, that would be Cataclysm. And then after that was Mists of Pandaria, and they sort of had to roll their own. And basically, they've always, I think, had a little bit of trouble inventing entirely new villains that were not associated with Warcraft 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Going deep.
There's a reason why the Lich King is so memorable, because he had 2 entire games building up to him, and then he had 3 expansion packs building into him.
Right. And the other thing about the Lich King in World of Warcraft that I've heard mentioned before, and maybe we can go into some more depth later, is that he was notorious when he first came out as being an absolute monster of a fight. Is that right?
Well, yeah, he was... Yeah, basically. He was incredibly bad and very, very hard on a lot of levels, and that led to some very interesting escapades and a couple of interesting gameplay decisions. And there was, for instance, people selling Lich King farms for very specific reasons, which I might get into, related to the other bosses.
Yeah, so true to World of Warcraft fashion, this final boss, I've heard, is also pretty bad and has unreasonably difficult mechanics. So, let's see what Warlock does, because I haven't actually seen any of these mechanics other than the Paladin one, and I guess Blizzard mentioned what the Mage one was, so I don't really know. Let's find out what Warlock is going to be. I'm taking Zuin because I'm ready to get destroyed. We're going to have to build a custom deck.
Oh, goodness gracious, yep.
I don't expect Zulok is going to work, but let's...
Gul'dan versus the Lich King!
Your soul shall be mine! Is that your deck? It looks like a plea for help.
Okay. Sure, this is a good hand against a normal opponent.
By the way, I want to point out there's a kind of specific reason why I chose Warlock, which we'll probably see very shortly.
If you had information, I'm a little disappointed, but I guess at this point everybody has information.
Why
Yeah.
do you call
Yeah.
Your soul shall suffer!
No one orders me around.
Alright, what's your gimmick?
Warlock, set aside your pitiful hand. The terrors you command will soon serve me.
Deal 2 damage for each duplicate in the opponent's deck. I see. Okay, we're starting at 10. That's it? That's the worst he's got? That's nowhere near as bad as what I saw for the Paladin one. That said, we're probably not life-tapping much.
Put this apple on your head! As you command.
Destroy my minion.
No card can forestall my inevitable triumph.
Okay.
Who built that deck for you? Did they think you were fighting Hogger?
Winter is here, and it's
Yep,
cold!
Cold Wraith is a good card. Going for face. Pretty good.
And why shouldn't he?
Do I need taunt? No. We'll
Get in
wait
there
one
and
turn
fight,
for that.
maggot!
Five!
Yeah, the problem here is you really don't have much time, because you started with 10 life.
Yep. I'm aware. Alright, so we make taunt. Or do we make Direwolf Alpha? That may be better.
It's a good question. I don't have a good answer for you.
My shield for Argus!
Actually, let's absolute worst thing. I thought that was a direwolf I just played from my hand. Whoops!
It was not a direwolf that you played from your hand.
That misplay probably just cost us this one. Oh, yeah.
Also, the Serenite Chain Gangs.
Serenite Chain Gang's a good card.
Yes, it is.
Buying or selling.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
You win.
I actually think the zoo plan might work. We just need to have fewer difficulties. Fewer duplicates, and also, like...
Reno Jackson, if you haven't.
Not make misplays. Right. Well, if we're actually going singleton, there's no real reason to need Reno Jackson. I guess it's a nice card to have. Alright. Plus, we didn't actually get to 7 mana that fight, and I know about a gimmick in one of the other fights. Okay. So... First question. Do we own Molten Giant?
That would be a good question to ask, yes.
Alright, let's see. 1. This would cost... 5 mana?
Well, the problem is that if you're making a completely new deck, you may have fewer duplicates than you did on that last one.
Yeah, let's, You know what? I have an idea.
So, one of the things that Blizzard... to talk about World of Warcraft while you fiddle around with cards, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
One of the things that Blizzard tried to do was make the Lich King a more immediate character in World of Warcraft. Wrath of the Lich King is kind of the first idea where they really seem to figure out, I think, to a certain extent, modern MMO questing design. But the idea is that you would basically go through a zone and go through a long chain of quests and essentially complete that zone. And each of the zones had a light storyline where you would run into a questing hub and you would do things, then you would complete that questing hub and go to another questing hub. And so, for instance, you would, in Borean Tundra, you would go along with, like, a group of dragons, then you would release a dragon prisoner, and then the dragon prisoner would take you off to the area around the Nexus, and then the Nexus would have a series of quest lines where you fought the Blue Dragon Flight, and then ultimately you would basically be introduced to Malygos, and then you would have a reason to go into the Nexus, which was the second dungeon in Wrath of the Lich King. And by the end of the Nexus, you would have basically completed a character's storyline. And World of Warcraft kind of light committed to this. Like, it was very easy to skip around just because there was nothing mandating you had to complete this quest line before you went into the Nexus. And, you know, the quest line would give you a reward for finishing it, but you could just skip it and leave it behind. But it was sort of the first time where they were like, okay, well, let's do something with the zone that eventually leads into doing the other content.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the big thing was that basically every single zone had, if not a meeting with the Lich King, at least his direct hand in play. Like, you would have cutscenes where he would show up and do a thing, or you'd specifically learn that he caused a bad thing to happen that smashed up a big chunk of the zone, and so on and so forth. And that was pretty significant as compared to vanilla, where you basically never saw any of the raid bosses until you actually hunted them down and killed them. And it was also different from Burning Crusade, where once or twice you got mention of, oh yeah, a bad guy in maybe a raid somewhere maybe is responsible for a bad thing that happened, and maybe you'll eventually go and beat them. But Wrath was basically set up right from the start as, well, eventually you're probably going to want to kill this dude, and we're introducing you to him, and you're getting involved in fighting him.
I see.
So that was kind of,
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, sort of the innovation, you would call it, in World of Warcraft. And they've sort of carried that forward, where each zone is its own storyline, and they usually lead up to it, and often they would finish with a dungeon. And that sort of same structure is kind of present in Final Fantasy XIV, but it's much more specifically defined, as in you complete the storyline and then you do the dungeon. You can't skip ahead or around.
Right. So, deck construction's finished. If now's a good time for me to explain my choices. So, I'm okay with taking 4 damage, or maybe it's 2 damage, for extra Imp Gang Boss and Darkshire Councilman, just because they're good. Yes, I know that kind of is bad with Reno, but it's fine. And there's a couple things in here, like Sea Giant and just some general zoo things. So, I think this'll probably work, but I don't know how this will go later in the...
I've received advice on a specific card you basically need, but I will not speak to it because I'm kind of interested in seeing why people are mentioning it.
Sure. Well, we'll find out.
Indeed.
Okay. So, let's try that again. Okay. So, Zoo to Zoo 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. So, thing is, if I can actually keep his board at bay, like, the chain gang's really, really annoying, but,
Gul'dan versus the Lich King!
Your soul shall be mine! You call that wretched pile of cards a deck?
this seems good. Let's see. This should keep the most
Get it out!
presence.
Get it out!
And then we can double Firefly next turn. 2 damage. Okay. Spectral Knight's good. Where do we go? Haunted Creeper. On this board I like the Haunted Creeper more. I think.
Hey, you summoned a 2/2 ghoul.
Darn it, that's gonna be a problem with this deck, though. Maybe. High Reno.
You can't activate him yet. You need to draw Darkshire Councilman.
Yep, I'm aware. Alright.
Your demise is inevitable, and no emote can express your shame.
Yeah. Whoever said the Lich King is not breaking the fourth wall, I disagree.
They were specifically referring to one particular taunt of his that was not breaking the fourth wall.
That's fair. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Like this.
Why do you fall?
So another fun fact about the Lich King is that over the course of the expansion since the Lich King, Death Knights have consistently gotten the Lich King's abilities as abilities of their own.
I see. Councilman, that's good.
Now Reno is active.
Yep.
And what did you draw?
Ticking Abomination. I don't think I'm playing that. Ever. So... Oh, darn it, I should have played this guy first. That was misplay as well. Man, trying to read the chat and play cards at the same time is tricky.
It is.
Give your minions +2/+2. Okay, should have traded.
That's one of the Death Knight cards.
Yep. Okay. Sure.
Who knows what secrets will uncover?
Actually, this is just tripping here. Okay. So, the Black Knight does nothing. And he's just attacking our minions, which I'm totally fine with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got... This seems like a good turn for...
Nerubian Egg.
Actually...
Or just trade in.
New plan. Doesn't quite work the way I wanted it to. But that gets enough power off so that this shouldn't die. There is a plan here, because I think I know what he's playing with. Yeah. I knew about this card, so that should summon a bunch of 2/6s, unless this is different than the Paladin one. Yep.
Oh, hello.
Wait, this is your minions, not all minions. Whoops! I'm dumb.
Well, the hope is that he'll kill it with Frostborn.
Right, and then what happens to my minions?
Well, the idea is that if he kills it with Frostborn, he'll resummon it after it breaks. Assuming you can make it break.
That's not what this Frostmourne does.
Oh, I see. That's totally different. I see.
This
This is roughly
Frostmourne
based
does
on a
not
mechanic
break.
from-
Yeah, this just says this weapon does not lose its durability until all these 2/6s are dead. Also, he can't take damage until all these 2/6s are dead. So.
Yeah. Joy. Yeah, this is something that I heard about. I've heard a couple of people basically say, do you have Doomsayer? Oh, well, you lose.
Yeah, I'm not ready to give up just yet.
Or Twisting Nether.
Yeah, Twisting Nether is kind of a good one. Zoo might be a Shadow Word Horror is not a card I can use with Warlock, by the way. This is I have to use Warlock because I have to beat him with all the classes.
Shadow Flame would be good here.
Yeah, Shadow Flame.
Twisting Nether.
I don't think I want to run Twisting Nether in this kind of deck, but... don't get me. Damn it. Okay.
Took your most valuable cards, because of course it does.
Problem is, his weapon is just going to take this guy for free.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so Shadow Flame's a card we're putting in. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
You win.
We could get Shadow Word Horror with Renounced Darkness. Yeah, I could. It also loses my ability to life. Okay, so I don't actually like... Well, Doomsayer, he can't actually kill because he plays Frostmourne before ever doing any attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. We'll try that. Okay. Oops. Do this. Do this. Okay. I think I do have a power overwhelming in this deck. And that's not actually that great against a board full of a ton of 2/6s. It really isn't. So yeah, we'll put in a Doomsayer. What do we want to take out here? That's not great. Harvest Golem, maybe? Or perhaps Fallen Sun Cleric.
Interesting. I'm reading that because you go first, it's possible to steal the challenge cards.
Steal the... How? You don't get the coin. And you can't just go Lord Walker Cho.
I have no idea. I'm just saying that it is theoretically possible.
The way you would do it is you play Rogue, and you go Counterfeit Coin Lord Walker Cho. I don't know how the hell you're supposed to do it in Warlock. Anyways, so we want Doomsayer in... We want Twisting Nether and Shadow Flame. Maybe Egg's not great if we're going on the singleton plan. So... And where's Shadow Flame? I don't actually know.
I genuinely have no idea what I would build to do this. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think this plan works. I just need a way to answer all the 2/6s. I used my hero power, like, at least 3 times that game, so I don't know what you're talking about, QB. And also, I don't think Molten Giant is a key card because I never went down to even 15 that game.
Gul'dan versus the Lich
I have Sea
King!
Giant in here, and that's my way I can clear big things.
Your soul shall be mine!
I don't own the Warlock Death Knight, so that plan is out.
I am the new meta.
Alright. He's got different lines for when he starts. Mountain Giant is just a card I don't own, period, so... Nice suggestions, but we're doing it this way. Take 2. No, 4. 4? Did something change?
You didn't draw one of your duplicates.
Oh, right.
The last game you started with a Imp Gang Commander.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Remember, you've got until turn 7.
It's fine, I can still have a couple turns. What I need is, I need him to not use his hero power so much, actually, to be totally honest. And also, I definitely need to keep his board clear so I don't get owned by +2/+2
How do
to
you
the team.
shuffle those cards without feeling sorry for yourself?
Alright. That's fine, we can deal with that. That's his turn, I'm pretty happy with that. Lift tab first.
Fine, more savvy.
Stuff by 7. This seems fine.
Why'd you use that?
Wait. Ah, damn. I clicked the wrong freaking thing again. Okay. Well, hope that doesn't come back to bite me.
Misplaying is usually a bad idea.
Yeah, I seriously, like, cannot believe I'm doing this because, like, I don't know, the one time I do it on
Why
stream.
are you putting it there? Why are you putting it there? Why don't you put it next to the Dire Wolf so you can kill the Frost Elemental if you need to?
Yeah, that seems fine.
Who dares summon me? A paltry.
Again, fewer misplays will help you win.
Yeah, I'm aware. See, the reason why is I didn't want to have to trade this thing in for... Well, okay, we drew an answer to help us.
Get in there and fight, maggot!
Deal.
This goes here. This goes here. This goes here. Life tab. And... Gang boss.
I see.
Alright, still haven't drawn
Next turn.
answers, but we could still draw Twisting Nether and be okay. Okay, played 2 guys and buffed them. Sure.
There's Anti-Magic Shell.
It's fine, it's fine. I guess my guy being frozen is kind of annoying, but, let's see here. What's a good trait on this board? Oh, that board doesn't matter because it's going to go away. So,
Yes, indeed. QB suggests resetting to make sure you draw your answer. I suggest you would maybe want a life tap this turn.
yeah, that's fine. We can...
He's going to attack with his weapon first is the thing to consider.
I am ready. Fine.
That was supposed to be defending Argus, but, yeah, okay.
Are you still misplaying?
Yeah, I need to stop reading things while trying to play.
What are you reading? Chat is not moving that fast.
I don't know. I think I'm just distracted thinking about things we're talking about, but it's fine. This is fine. Oh, I
Oh, hey,
another.
look at that. Do you have a better option than play it right now?
Probably not. Okay.
Oh, hey, and they came back without buffs. By the way, he now has his final hero power.
Yeah, I'm aware of this. I'm gonna start taking damage and I need to start killing him. Gain armor draw cards. That's gonna be problematic.
It's his boss card.
So we need to save Reno for the latest possible moment, I think. We don't have that much time.
No, you don't.
Let's see. So we do
On
this.
your head.
This. That was a good aim. We do this.
Relax. It's a party.
We do this.
My shield for Argus.
And if you want to freeze one of them, you can now.
This is Cloakfield.
Ah. I thought okay, that's right. It's not the freeze one. By the way, Remorseless Winter is one of those attacks I mentioned where Death Knights actually received that as an ability after it became so notable that the Lich King did it.
He just has 2 removal spells. I'm probably just dying.
Obliterate has always been a Death Knight ability. It's the Frost Death Knight iconic attack, basically.
Oh, hey, we drew the thing that turns Reno on.
Yep.
We're gonna be rich.
We can do this. Alright. 3 damage. 1 elemental.
Winter is here, and it's cold.
I'd like to see... Oh my god, there's one card draw. I'd like to see a Shadow Flame around now.
Shadow Flame would be useful.
Let's see. That's... Not particularly I think I have
Not
to
seeing
play it
this at
though,
this
just to buy me enough life. Because knowing the AI, will do that. Double check. Okay. Him drawing all those cards is really where we had problems here.
Well, to be fair, it's also the fact that he has generally not a very fair fight on a lot of levels.
Alright. So this has got to be Shadow Flame.
Nope.
Alright. I think we're changing to Control Warlock.
The problem is that it looks like you either need to very quickly do a lot of damage after Frostmourne, or you need to do a lot of damage before Frostmourne and still have enough gas to...
Yeah, that's not happening because I cannot let his minions live before Frostmourne or I will get completely and utterly owned by his pumping his team.
There's also the problem of the fact that your card quality is way lower than his.
Yeah, no, that's why we're not doing Zoo anymore. So we're doing Reno Control Lock, I think.
1 second, I'll be right back.
Sure thing. So, what are we keeping? Not this, not this. Not that. Soulfire's fine. No. I do have Kel'Thuzad. Flame Juggler. No, no, no. Actually, Gastropod is fine. Councilman, one of those. No, one of those. Argus is good. Implosion is good. Shadow Flame's good. Doomguard's good. Reno's good. Nether's good. Sea Giant with how many guys he plays is fine. Alright, so... I can put in Kel'Thuzad, sure.
We've lost repeatedly, G-Volt.
Yeah, we've lost repeatedly to the Warlock one, but we're still just kind of, we've only done 2 attempts, we're still just sort of figuring out what his deck sort of is. Sylvanas seems good. Ragnaros.
So, well, you know about that.
Major Jomo Exec... No, that's not.
Shall I tell you a little about how the Lich King, you know, fights when you fight him in the,
Yeah, well, how about how the mechanics of the Hearthstone fight line up to the Lich King fight?
Barely, honestly. So, there is a mechanic where... There is a mechanic where you have to fight the tormented souls trapped by Frostmourne, but the way that works is that literally what happens is that during the 3rd phase, the Lich King will start going around and attacking people, and if this attack, which is a lot of damage, doesn't flat-out kill them, their soul is devoured and they're sucked into Frostmourne. And then they end up in a secondary mechanic, where they end up in a secondary raid zone, and they have to help the soul of Arthas' father to both revive themselves and kill the Spirit Warden to save the day. So... that's basically it. Like, the Lich King in World of Warcraft had a lot of adds that he summoned. He had a lot of really difficult mechanics. Like, one of the major mechanics was the fact that you could fall off the edge and die, which is, bad.
Right. Yeah, at least this fight doesn't instantly kill you.
But, that thing that he summoned at the very end there, the Valkyr, that was kind of that was actually a reference to it. So, one of the things that he could summon during, I think the 3rd phase, was he could summon a Valkyr. And the gimmick was that the Valkyr would grab someone and then just carry them off the platform and drop them, and then they die. And the only way to stop that would be to kill the Valkyr before you died, which was actually kind of hard, because the Valkyr had a lot more HP than you wanted, and it was a very complex fight with a lot of things going on, and the DPS basically had to drop everything and kill the Valkyr as soon as it came up, so it was a test of attention, as well as burst DPS. And that's kind of what it does in the game, to a lesser extent. The Valkyr, if you noticed, it killed someone, and... then basically what happened was it killed itself and a random target, which is basically what happened with the Valkyr in the fight.
I think I'm going to want more healing. Do I have any low drops in here? Not really. Maybe Imp Gang Boss is out for, like, Refreshment Vendor, and I think Twilight Drake should be going in here instead of... what's bad here? He usually goes maybe Soulfire. Or alternatively, he never really plays single big things, so maybe Blast Crystal's bad. So let's go...
the WoW equivalent to his final hero power is literally Remorseless Winter. Like, that's what it was called as well.
By the way, I've never basically ever played a Control Warlock, so we'll see how this goes.
Good luck.
Current situation. Haven't beaten this guy once yet. We're trying Warlock. So, this is our third attempt with Warlock. The first one was just sniffing out mechanics. The second one was a tuned deck that I thought would work, wouldn't, and so this is build number 3 of we'll try some kind of control Warlock with some life gain.
Gul'dan versus
Also, we're playing
the
Singleton
Lich
to make his
King.
hero power irrelevant.
In World of Warcraft, Remorseless Winter was just a zoning thing. He would cast it during one of his transition phases, and basically everyone inside him would just continuously take extremely high cold damage. And the idea was that you basically had to run around the ring of way to basically play keep away with him, while he also did a bunch of other mechanics that, again, constantly dealt problems. It does now do progressively higher damage if you are a Death Knight, because Death Knights for a couple of expansions now have had Remorseless Winter as a frost ability. Yes, it was CSR reverb, and the problem was that basically it was a very large don't stand in the death thing that happened around him, so again, you had to basically play keep away with him. And this is a fight where space was at an incredible premium, so not only did the Lich King do conal AoEs and a big spiral radial AoE around him, he also summoned spirits that did conal AoEs. I'm going to point out, by the way, that the thing he used to blow up you for having duplicates, Soul Reaper, that was his tank buster. Like, Soul Reaper was a really, really brutal tank buster because it did extraordinary amounts of damage to someone. So, Soul Reaper would do massive damage to someone, and then it would, like, double his attack speed for 5 seconds, so he'd, like, just do a massive hit, and then, like, machine gun you down. It was kind of legitimately that was why you had a tank swap, was someone would get hit with a Soul Reaper, and then someone would have to immediately grab aggro from the boss so that the machine gun swings did not kill the first tank. You can play...
Oh, for crying out loud. Discarded Reno. Oh well, that probably means we're losing.
Yep.
Not immediately, but... Bone Baron's not bad here.
No, it wouldn't be. You've got another turn before he goes nuts, as usual. So those dudes are not going to be around next turn.
Right. So that said, what do we want to do here?
Despicable Dreadlord seems good here, but I'm not sure if it would be better here or the next turn is the problem.
Oh, he's just going to attack it. Whoops.
Exactly, that's my concern.
Or he
Well,
attacks
might-
my sea giant because it's bigger. I don't actually know. I think it's
Do you have... Yeah. He could attack it, but, yeah.
I don't really see the... Oh, okay.
Twisting Nether is still here.
Good, I guess. Except he gets how much power back? I think I'm just dead.
He loses his weapon.
Yeah, but he can still do that to me.
Yeah.
And then we play Mal'Ganis to... Oh dear. That's a little too much power on board. Even with Mal'Ganis, I still lose. That doesn't save me either.
No, it doesn't. That's a good card, but it doesn't save you. Do you want to restart? Or...
Yeah, so discarding Reno, I think, is where we lost that one. That was
Seems likely.
1 in, 7 of that happening?
Yep. And this, by the way, Blizzard, is why no one likes playing discard. You can print just about all the really good legends you want to support Disco Lock. You're not going to get people to seriously play Disco Lock until discarding itself
Gul'dan versus
is
the
fixed.
Lich King.
I'm not sure I own Corrupting Mist.
Your soul shall be
I could see,
mine.
but,
Your
let's
anguished
throw it
cries
instead.
will be a testament to my legend-level play.
It's a rare. You can craft it for 100 if you need it still.
I don't think we're doing that. If we really are to the point of crafting, I'll just try a different challenge. That's my thoughts on here.
Okay. So yeah, Soul Reaper was his tank buster, and it hurts. In fact, most of Lich King is the fact that it was just like...
Buying or selling.
A lot of the reason why the Lich King was hard in general was just the fact that you had very limited space, and it shrank as the battle went on. Because he would smash the outer ring of his platform, so he had even less space to maneuver, and he needed to do some very, very careful dodging and movement for that entire fight. Oh, and by the way, late in the battle, he would gain the ability to resurrect dead raid members as zombies to help him.
You
So that
play
was...
cards the way my father ran his kingdom, weakly. I should meet you.
Alright, I think we're still kind of in control of the board for now. This seems... 4? Yeah! That'll help. Also...
Atchison points out that, yes, it would be very helpful if Disco Lock cards were not all legendary.
That's really, really good.
That's a good 5.
Unleash me.
Keep his board as clear as possible is the name of the game here.
I should meet you.
Doesn't matter.
Winter is here, and it's cold.
Matters a little bit more.
Not really. Let's see. He's still not on the turn yet, so we'll tap first. Okay, that's good to see. Maybe I shouldn't play this then. I'm just gonna play Doomsayer next turn.
Yeah, you probably want to play Doomsayer next turn. It'll be an interesting interaction to see what happens.
Your soul
This.
is mine.
Followed by the Doomsayer here. And that's good. Alright, I think we actually can have a chance of winning this one.
It's possible.
Frostmourne is not going to kill my Doomsayer.
Not able to kill the Doomsayer, so having
And
it right
him
here, right
attacking
now.
anything but my face. He's fine here. Yeah, you see this AI is...
The AI is not great. And to be fair, Hearthstone is simple enough that even a not great AI can be pretty good, but it's not great enough. Yeah, okay. I think I would have played Dr. 7, actually.
I think I like this just because make plays that spend the most mana. But
Valid. Looming Presence.
yeah, he's just not going to do anything.
He's going to draw crazy much.
How long can this go on? How long
That's
can this
fine.
go on?
Sure.
Glory to the Lich.
Huh.
Kel'Thuzad, you're in the wrong adventure.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Kel'Thuzad just said glory to the Lich King. And then the Lich King said you're in the wrong adventure.
Fun fact, during the Kel'Thuzad fight, the Lich King actually does directly help Kel'Thuzad late in the battle.
That was... I don't know what that play was.
You can play Bran and then Dr. 7.
I don't think that's... I think we want Mal'Ganis here, actually.
Actually, no, you should save Bran for maybe Antique Healbot.
Yeah. Mal'Ganis keeps him on, and we hope Ragnaros hits this.
That would be nice if it did.
Nope.
Nope.
Well, we're losing KT, but that's fine. This way, I take no damage from his hero power.
That's valid.
Blizzard does actually nothing. Okay, that
Oh, Jesus.
hurts, but I'm still immune. He's killing Kel'Thuzad because of course he is.
Makes sense to me. Dr. Seven.
I'm almost thinking of using Rag as Shadow Flame, but
If you were going to do that, it might have been better to Shadow Flame him.
you know what? We'll tap
last
first
turn.
while we're immune.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then we'll probably just go.
Who knows what
Bot.
secrets will uncover?
Well, actually, that's not really net. How about Doomguard? No,
You
no,
get
no,
the-
no, 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 not with Brandon
That's
playing.
very bad.
That's bad. Okay, so I sort of screwed up. That's fine. Actually, Healbot it is.
Yeah, if you had, it might have been better not to roll for Rag, but use Shadow Flame last turn.
Yeah. Okay, well, Rag works,
Because
so we're okay.
you have Kel'Thuzad. You had Kel'Thuzad.
Winter is here, and it's cold.
Hey, Bone Mare. That
Hey,
looks
a
like
reason
a
to play
Siphon Soul
Siphon
target.
Soul. How much life's our opponent have, actually?
39.
This can happen. That definitely happens. We don't want our guy dying. So
Running the program.
Going to trade in
Your history.
Bran.
And then our opponent takes 8. And we're still immune. Yeah,
Immunity seems pretty good.
I will guide you.
And
That seems like a good thing to kill somehow.
thinking about how we're doing this. I think it involves... Oh, we can't... How about...
I have no
Sylvana
time for
Shadow
games.
Flame.
Yeah.
After all you've put me through, the last thing I'll give you is the peace of death.
Ah, the Lich King has special lines against Sylvanas. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, Sylvanas kind of really hates. And then Ragnaros.
Also, he's dead.
Yep.
Only darkness.
So that was about an hour. Maybe
Yeah.
a little under. But okay. That's one down.
You did it, champion!
There must always be a Lich King.
Okay. So, I think we get it like an epilogue here for this. Yep. Blood Reaver Gul'dan. At last Gul'dan sat upon the frozen throne. The dark portal yawned open once more, and the worlds uncounted tremble before him. So, what is... I don't even know what the dark portal is.
The Dark Portal was how the orcs got to Azeroth in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of deep lore that you really don't 100% need to know. But the short of it is that the orcs are basically space aliens. They lived on a planet called... It was Draenor. And then the Draenei, who were originally from a planet called Argus, and the same species as the High Demons, fled because they didn't want to be demons, and they landed on Draenor. And then bad stuff happened involving demons and corruption, and then kaboom. And then Medivh opened the Dark Portal, and then out came the orcs.
I see.
So, remember one night in Karazhan, how the very first boss was an orc lady?
Uh-huh.
Of the final battle? Yeah, that was... because at that point in the storyline, when the adventure was supposedly set, air quotes, the orcs were not actually on Azeroth yet. And so again, Medivh opened a portal and out came the orcs, and then Warcraft starts happening.
I see. Okay. So, let's get our first round of prizes here. Sword. One rune of 9. And a pack. And it's doing this thing.
Impossible. Impossible. What do you say? Best of 9?
Best of 9. Okay. Does it tell you which classes you've won with? If not, that's going to be really... Ah, It does. It lists the remaining 8 right here that I have to do. That's good.
So, one other thing was that there must always be a Lich King. That's also what happened in World of Warcraft. So, do you remember Bolvar Fordragon?
Yeah, he
The
becomes
very
a Lich
crappy
King after Arthas, isn't that right?
Yes, and he specifically says, leave me alone and forget about me. Because apparently having a Lich King is the only reason why the undead hordes have not wiped out all life on Azeroth. So there needs to be a Lich King basically to just sit there so that they don't go crazy. And then there's something vagueness something where he came back as the Lich King because he hates demons as much as anyone. And then it's kind of like he's sort of like a lawful evil semi-ally, and they haven't really done anything, and it's kind of boring, honestly. I think it would be more interesting if they didn't, like, jump around and say, oh, maybe he's scary and spooky, and just said, he's just gonna sit there and be, and then there's just undead, and he's just kind of on your side, kind of, but he's spooky, and he doesn't really care. But no, they do, yeah.
An interesting pack. Oh, Golden Rare is nice. But, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's...
So, which class are we doing next?
I have no idea. Priest was mentioned a couple of times.
So, secret thing, I'm not doing Priest, because I was told it's stupidly easy.
Well, do
So let's
Priest
see
at least
everyone.
once, just to see what his card is, because I love the unique boss challenge for Priest.
Sure. Let's give it a Valino deck. Alright. Priest. Let's not bring a standard deck.
Look at your hand, champion. Look at what you've become. Are we really so different, you and I?
So,
That was a Star Wars reference.
oh. I completely missed that. Wow. Okay. Thanks, Blizzard. Alright, let's see what his priest thing is. I think I already know part of it, but...
Tyrande versus the Lich King!
Alone give me strength.
You call that wretched pile of cards a deck?
What? What's this about looking at my hand?
It was, again, it's the Star Wars reference. That's the Star Wars reference.
Oh, because it's a card game and you have a hand. Yeah, okay.
Well, also because Luke Skywalker got a prosthetic hand just like Darth Vader.
No, yeah,
Ha, ha,
I
ha.
know the Star Wars reference. I just didn't realize that's what they were doing. Okay. So... Wow, this is a bad opener.
Silence, priest. The light will be deaf to your cries for mercy.
Your opponent can't emote. What?
Silence.
You literally just get no downside.
Exactly. It's the only one without a penalty. By the way, fun fact, I have read that if you steal that with a turn 1 Mind Vision, you can use that on the Lich King, and then he can't emote for the rest of the fight.
But why would you... Okay.
So that he could just goes whenever he's trying to taunt you.
But I want to hear his voice lines. That's like the one thing keeping me sane in these fights.
Oh. I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, I guess, well,
People have
let's-
suggested it as a reference to the non-existent archetype of Silence Priest as well.
Right away.
That's really stupid. Well,
Spirit.
So it's a
I
non-
will guide you.
okay. So,
Are you seriously playing this out?
yeah. We're in a good spot, actually.
Right away.
This is, like, totally fine. I mean, I don't really have a way to deal with 2 6s. I probably should have put Shadow Word Horror in here, but... Shit.
Wow!
Okay. You win this one, Lich King. That's bad.
Mm-hmm. And for those
And
who are not aware,
he's not attacking.
that was odd. For what it's worth, Anti-Magic Shell is also it was a thing from Warcraft 3. It was a spell that Banshees got. And it's, these days, actually it's actually been a Death Knight mechanic for a while, and in fact, it's one of their unique things that they get. It doesn't actually boost your attack power, but it does, and it doesn't make you completely immune to magic, but it's pretty strong. And I don't know if they can still do it, but for a while, Death Knights could also put down an anti-magic zone, which was like a barrier field that would block magic damage to everyone standing in it. That was a good raid-quite cooldown.
He's losing these and they shrink to nothing, so I'm taking this one. Also, I should have put Shadow of the Horror in here. I knew this was a thing that happens. Anyway.
So there is no excuse.
Right. Other than, like, not wanting to modify my deck.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, that doesn't actually work. Dang.
Hey,
To be fair, I think Banshee had it even in the base game of Warcraft 3 CRS Reverb, rather.
Alright, so...
Like, Banshees were introduced, and you got the very first Banshee after you killed Sylvanas, which is one of the reasons why she's so very, very pissed off at the Lich King, because the Lich King killed her.
So we're taking 17 from this, okay. Yeah, Shadow Word Horror needs to go in here. Let's try this again. This actually seems fairly easy.
Well, yeah, it's the easiest of them.
Unless you wanted to see other ones.
I'm a priest man. I'd love to see priest beat the Lich King.
Alright, so... choose...
I was an early adopter of Warcraft 3 CRS Reverb. I sucked at it, though. Still kind of do. That hasn't changed.
Alright, so... put this deck into the photocopier.
Dun dun dun.
And... make it real, and then...
I mean, one of the things that Warcraft 3 had, which is wonderful, is the fact that it had Crypt Lords, which are one of my favorite heroes in the Warcraft period.
Do we own Shadow Word Horror? One of it. I'll switch out a Light Bomb for it. Actually, I'll switch out an Entomb for it.
Mm-hmm. Like, what I really love about Crypt Lords was that it was the hero that Undead really, really never had in Warcraft 3, namely, like, actually a full-on powerhouse, because their other strength hero was the Death Knight, who was a healer and supporter, and absolutely not a melee powerhouse. So yes, people who've never played Warcraft 3, Death Knights were an undead hero, and they were really good at magic.
Alright. Velen Priest 2. Did some changes, put in more Excavated Evils, since he has a lot of 3 health things. Put in our Shadow Word Horror, pair of Doomsayers. So, hopefully this should work. Except I just picked the wrong friggin' deck.
It is finished.
That makes difficulty.
Yeah, let's fix that. Alright, so choose Velen Priest 2.
Oh, that's right, the first Death Knight was Terran Gorefiend.
Who?
He was an orc.
The
I see.
Lich King!
He was one of Gul'dan's
Moon, give me
besties.
strength.
You call that wretched pile of
Let's keep a
cards
horde,
a
I
deck?
think.
I did. Oh, and for reasons that are kind of complicated and related, he was reanimated in the body of a human, so he is an orc human undead.
Creature type,
Death
orc
Knight.
human. Knight.
Creature type,
Orc,
orc human knight.
yeah.
Zombie, orc human zombie knight.
Lich King.
Yeah, Warcraft is one of those things where it's like, I think one of my ongoing amusements is that they really never quite know how to marry like the silliness with the seriousness.
Yeah, this adventure kind of shows that a little bit too.
Hearthstone is just kind of all-in goofy pretty much all the time. Like, that was sort of their thing is the adventures are very, very goofy all the way through. Like, the only one that was a straight serious story, I think, would be League of Explorers, and that still has Rafam! It's constantly going around being incredible. Why'd you do that, then?
I seriously clicked
I don't have enough
Tazdingo. Okay, well this will be interesting now that I've just blown my way to deal with... I swear I clicked the right card there. I don't even...
Tazdingo! Some still
It's fine, we'll bounce back. We have no minions, maybe we won't. Draw 2 weapons from your deck. Yeah, let's restart.
Mm-hmm.
Tazdingo wasn't great there either. It's just drawing nothing but spells has kind of been a problem.
Randa!
We need to draw at
The
least
Lich
something that can
King!
stick on the board. I think Shadow Word Horror is actually wrong to
Give me
keep in the
strength.
opener.
Your anguish
Could be.
cries
But the problem is,
will
are
be
you
a
sure you're going to draw it
testament to
again?
my legend
I also have 2
level play.
Doomsayers and
Valid.
Zombie Chow is more of what we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can't emote.
The Lich King.
Alright, let's try to keep the board.
The Lich King.
Thanks. Syndragosa, that's a good card.
Yeah, Syndragosa will help you. It will, help make the Death Knights, Lich King's pathetic magic betray him, etc.
And Blood Queen Lanethel.
Wrong class.
Each card you play brings you closer to oblivion.
Spirits, I will guide you.
Though I still remember on the first wing how much work Lanethel got against, what's-his-face, Lord Marrogar.
Fine cycling this here. Chop off some armor.
My master.
They have Doomsayer, so we're
Winter is here,
good. Cold
and it's cold.
Sure.
Cold Wraith is interesting, because I don't think I've seen its effect trigger, honestly.
If he only played it in the same turn as one of his freezing elementals, but
I think he played it, I think a couple of times he's played it before the Freezing Elemental.
also that attack was extremely wrong.
Is someone injured?
And here's why.
Leaving it, yeah.
Excuse me.
I believe I read, QB, that you can if you transform your hero. So yes, if you did play Shadow Reaper,
None shall
you could emote normally.
Right, so then we do...
Right away.
How many cards in hand? Are you going to overdraw?
No.
Okay, just making sure. This is the stream where you would make that mistake.
I'm aware. Yeah, we have exactly enough here.
Okay.
So then...
Again, I am just making sure.
Frostmourne hungers. Did you want anything?
Oh, haha.
I don't even get that one either.
It's hungry. Do you want any food?
Alright, so he's got a 4-5 here, and... I think this is fine to play into that. And this.
Blood Mage Thalnos, still a good card. Still don't understand why it's Blood Mage Thalnos instead of a different person. Gonna point out once again, Blood Mage Thalnos, not very important. He's just some dude.
Okay, Bone More's pretty good. 4 damage to all minions, you say. Yeah, fine.
And, yeah, so we are seeing once again that, Bone Mare is a pretty good card.
How else do I want to do this? Sure. Break. And kill that. Yeah, Bone Mare's good. Zombie Chow doesn't matter, he doesn't have health yet. We're gonna need to start hitting him, though, soon before the power starts getting... Okay, that's rude. Right, could set his health to 15. I don't know if that's actually good here.
Yeah, that is the concern.
Okay, we'll start with this. Well, drawing
Is
some
someone
cards.
injured?
Often a good idea.
Alright, okay. It'll do 15 damage to him. I want to see where his guys are going. Okay. Technically doesn't kill our board. That does the... Okay, that's bad. Need a light bomb there. He
Light
does-
Bomb would be very good.
Thing is, did I take out all of my light bombs? I don't know.
I think you only took out one.
Okay, I have to plan this carefully.
The icy winds of Northland will consume your soul.
She was my finisher. Give her back.
The real question is, where is he going to send his attackers this turn?
Winter is
Probably
here.
my face, almost no doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we need light bomb.
That's not going to help you.
Well. Okay. So there's... Norwal Alexstrasza. Okay. Well,
Take this
I don't
time
think there's
to
even
consider.
anything that saves me off of this. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Give it another shot. Maybe get...
Oh, Benak points out that Shadow Rapport will let you draw 2 legends, but
The Lich
Yeah, that...
King.
I was aware, but that was probably even less
Alone
useful.
give me strength.
You think I'll have mercy on the likes of you?
Death is good, but we want it later. Doomsayer is fine to keep. I think just keep Doomsayer only. I don't actually... Okay, Zombie Chow's good to see. Probably should just change this from Velen to just complete control priest, but
Yeah, it's
Mind if I
possible that might be the right way to go about it, just because the thing is, he may have a little too much for Velen to really do, honestly. Like, and I could see better cards. I could see you might want to transform those Mind Blasts into just better cards. Mind Blasts and Velen would...
right, yeah, into like more
Like, you might keep Velen's Chosen just because it's a pretty good buff, and it still gets you more off of, like, Excavated Evil or whatever that card is called. But, I might actually... I might use Horror here, but I don't know.
Hey, give me that!
I have a better plan here.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. This gets buffed +2/+2. That becomes 4/6. This becomes
4/6.
This is fine, I think.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't have a removal spell, that would be
The
bad.
dark path is my destiny.
Don't do that. I think now we can horror. This seems fine. Sure. Alright. Great, draw some cards.
Power Word Shield.
Nah, save it for after the Doomsayer comes down.
True. So I'll have...
Alright, so the plan here is... I
think you can clean off everything but the water elemental here. Or do that.
The end is coming!
do this. Take him with no minions. Don't get owned by him buffing his team.
I will say it is rather uncharacteristically coherent that after you get rid of the souls, he immediately loses his weapon.
Job's done.
Yeah. Black Knight? Or he has to do that first.
Yes, it's automatic, I think.
Winter is here, and it's cold!
You know what? Sure.
Not all who want them are
As a
lost.
7/7.
Yes. And so we can do this.
Excuse me.
Right away.
Job's done.
So, let's see how it goes. I still want to tell the story of the Serenite Bomb controversy.
Shatter is less fun.
R.I.P. Prophet Velen.
But that's actually just kind of bad too, so...
Yep. I've told the story a couple of times on a couple of different Discords, but it's still one of those fascinating moments of WoW history. Ugh.
It's fine. We'll do. I have a plan, you see. A cunning plan.
A plan, you see.
These Mind Blasts really should just get out of here. And hope he doesn't have a way to buff that.
He'll have another. Or Obliterate.
That seems like the wrong one.
It was the wrong one.
I bring life.
Okay, well that's 15 damage. Now he has 40 health left. And you're going to die next turn.
Possibly.
Winter is here, and it's cold. For the Lich King.
That actually saves us. For a turn.
How long can this
His other Serenite Chain Gang.
My Exna's a giant spider.
Yep, Maxna is a giant spider. Thanks, Kel'Thuzad, for informing us of that.
It is finished.
Okay, so... You know, the control deck plan kind of worked last time, so...
Yeah, it did, but I don't think it's going to be a Velen control deck.
Right, so... No, we're getting rid of the combo here, but... Well,
So while you're doing that, do you mind if I tell the story of the Serenite Bomb controversy?
sure, I'll just go over my plan. It's probably like Velen and Palatrus and the Thalnos and the Mind Blasts out for just some actual threats, so...
I think you might actually be able to keep Thalnos, but
Yeah, go ahead with the story.
okay. So here is the story. I mentioned in passing when I was talking about the Lich King fight that one of the difficulties of the battle was that as he had a lot of very complex AoEs that would frequently overlap and do a lot of different things, and it was a constant struggle of paying attention to a lot of different things. So at any time, the Lich King would have X number of ads on the battlefield at once. It would be anywhere from, like, a bunch of trio of ghouls to Valkyrie you had to immediately kill, to, like, a cluster of spirits you had to quickly AoE down before they exploded, to ice bombs, and so on and so forth. And making things even harder was the fact that halfway through the battle, the Lich King would smash the outer rim of the platform, so you had a third less space to maneuver or so. So the end result was that you had to do really complex dodging that was really, really space conscious in a platform that got smaller. G-Volt suggests using Confuse if you want to use Light Bomb, but I think Light Bomb might be useful for non-that phase
Yeah,
stuff.
Light Bomb is not for the phase. Light Bomb is for the board. Actually, thinking I can take an
Board control. It gets rid of a Light Bomb will get rid of a Dread, whatever the horse is, Bone Mare, and whatever it buffs, basically. But, so, enter Insidia. Insidia were one of the top-tier guilds in World of Warcraft. They had a number of world's firsts for heroic raids, and they eventually got the world's first kill on the Lich King. Several days later, it was announced that they no longer had the world's first kill on the Lich King, that many of their members had been suspended from the game, and that their achievement had been refunded, and someone else would now have the chance to be the world's first kill on the Lich King. The reason for this was they used an exploit, is what it was called. So, one of the gimmicks of the fight was that there was a glitch that allowed you to regrow the platforms. And what happened was that if you used an item called a Serenite Bomb, which was a grenade that rogues would use to boost their damage, the platform would reappear. So if you threw down a Serenite Bomb while you were DPSing things, as a rogue, then the platform would come back, and suddenly you had a lot more space to maneuver, and that cut out a pretty significant chunk of its difficulty. So you can understand why this was considered to be an exploit in the game, because you were giving a runaround on one of the hardest mechanics of the fight, on the hardest boss in the game. Q-drama. Abyss,
Yes.
do you know much about MMO drama?
It spirals out of control quickly.
It's like any drama, quite frankly. It's like that bad line from the first X-Men movie.
Miranda!
How, what is MMO
The
drama
Lich
like?
King!
Every other kind of drama. So there are some people who didn't like Insidia for various reasons that were crowing about it. There were some people that were big Insidia fans.
And the end. I am the
Yeah, go
new
ahead.
meta.
I had to live it off for the Lich King.
Yeah, we've heard
There
all
were
these
some
lines
that
at
were
this point.
big Insidia. Yeah, there were some people who were big Insidia fans who really hated it and called it unfair, and there was a lot of confusion because one of the questions is, how much did Insidia know? Was Insidia aware this was a glitch? Did they think that this was a normal part of the exploit? Well, the problem is, CRS Reverb, that it's not clear if you could tell. Like, I don't think videos of it have ever come out, so it's not 100% clear whether or not it looked weird or it looked like, oh wait, that's probably not supposed to happen. So some people said, oh, it was a glitch, but the devs are throwing it out of proportion, and it's, they're calling it an exploit, or that it's against the TOS, and so on and so forth. But there are also people that said, well, Insidia probably knew that...
was your most pathetic turn. And you've had some bad ones.
The platform was not supposed to regrow when you threw a Serenite bomb on the edge of it, and then it just reappeared. They should have known that this was an error of the game and contacted the devs. And other people were like, well, how much longer would the devs have taken if they did that? They should have gone on through it anyways and dealt with it, or like the devs should have just owned up to the fact that they made a mistake. Because the Lich King fight was the only fight in Icecrown Citadel that was not tested, because they wanted to keep it a surprise. And there's differing accounts on how much, because it's known that Blizzard will frequently watch top-rating progression raids, fight their bosses so they can try and find things that need to be ironed out quickly. So it's like, well, did Insidia genuinely know that Blizzard didn't intend for this to happen? Did Blizzard tell them this? And so it turns into this incredible morass of he said, she said idiocy all the way down. So the final tally is that World's First on the Lich King did not go to Insidia, it went to a different guild. And even now, there's a lot of discussion on... Wait, was that fair? Should Blizzard have just sucked it up and said, okay, we'll fix it, I guess you beat us? Or was it fair for them to go, yeah. Basically, Irish nonsense is 100% correct. It's idiocy all the way down. Because Blizzard didn't test the fight, and now a problem occurred. And then Insidia might have exploited it knowingly, or maybe not, but either way, a problem occurred. And...
You wish to live
Right away. Right away.
That's the other thing, CRS Reverb, Blizzard, it feels like Blizzard could have probably said, okay, we're going to do emergency maintenance and fix this, because that was fixed the Tuesday after the win. That was something they figured out and solved pretty much immediately.
Okay, we need to not overdraw here. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So once again, the ultimate question of who is to blame, it's not clear. And recently, one of the Insidia members who was involved in this came out and basically did this laughably stupid YouTube video where they were like, oh yeah, we were super mega hardcore. There's no way we, a super mega hardcore guild, would have ever used an exploit. And then, people came out of the woodwork and were like, oh, come the hell on. People use exploits all the damn time. That's in fact what it means to be a super mega hardcore guild, is to use... It's a known quantity that guilds and hardcore guilds will use every damn exploit on their hand to become the world's first. world's first of... I don't think it was world's first of Phoenix and FF14, but
Right
a
away.
lot of hardcore progression guilds did use an oversight in Phoenix and FF14 to give themselves massively increased attack power against that boss. And everyone was like, well, yeah, they're massively hardcore. They're going to do every damn advantage they can get. As for that CRS reverb, it's probably... I don't know much about Magatsu, but the thing is that, like, if it was known in advance that this could one-shot kill people, then it's... I'm not sure if it's better or worse, because this was a thing that I don't think Blizzard had any idea. Like, if Blizzard knew that Serenite bombs regrew the platform, they'd have fixed it. So it's like, if the devs at PSO2 knew that there was a quick kill mechanic that would kill Magatsu, and then they didn't do anything, and then they label it as an exploit, then they were being shittier than Blizzard was in some respects, because it's not 100% clear how much everyone knew, and whether or not Blizzard overreacted, or, like, if Blizzard had actually said, don't do this, then that would be one thing, but we don't know if they ever did that. Actually reminds me of one of the ways people killed... Your mention reminds me of one of the ways people killed Absolute Virtue in FF11. The Kraken Club. But I've spoken for entirely too long. How's your board state?
It's hanging in there.
Yeah, CRS Reverb knows what's up. The Kraken Club. Yeah, so this is another story. I'll make it much shorter. FF11 was a badly designed game. There was a boss that was invincible, but the devs swore up and down you could kill it. Someone figured out a way to kill it, and they got angry. In this particular way, there was a gimmicky weapon that was like, whenever you swing it, it swings 8 times. But it basically had no stats. So someone said, hey, let's get together a bunch of really, really rich Death Knights, and then have the Death Knights use Soul Eater, which burns 10% of your max HP and adds it directly to attack power. And then combine Soul Eater with Blood Weapon, which whenever you deal damage, you gain that much life. And with this, they killed the boss in like a minute. And they weren't supposed to, so when next time maintenance happened, Absolute Virtue was the very first boss to ever have any resistance to Soul Eater. But that's a completely different MMO story.
Alright, we might be finally able to beat this guy. I'm not sure yet.
I hope everyone enjoyed story time about MMOs with Omnicron.
My destiny.
You might want to sacrifice your Sludge Belcher and play Dr. Seven.
Yeah, Dr. 7 seems completely fine here. I also need to start healing myself.
Yeah.
I also need to start cleaning up this face.
What's interesting, Irish Nonsense, is that this one Insidia member brought it back and brought it up again, and it sort of resurrected the whole thing. And that, you know, it's just kind of amazing that it still has this much cachet after all this time. Lich King was a really famous fight, and Insidia getting banned was a famous drama llama.
We have lethal. I think we have lethal.
I think you've got lethal. Holy Smite.
Yeah. Something that way. Okay, so that was...
I want to see the epilogue now.
That was 2.
Mm-hmm.
You did it, champion!
There must always be a Lich King.
Hi, Wayne Reynolds art for Anduin. Okay. Shadow Reaper Anduin. The young prince's body dissolved into shadow. I see it all now, he said, his eyes burning with blue flame. I have been so naive.
And yeah, Irish Nonsense is referring to the Corrupted Blood incident, which is one of the most infamous incidents in World of Warcraft history. for those who have genuinely not heard of it or don't know the details, one of the raid bosses was Zul'Gurub. And one of the mechanics of that, one of the last bosses, was you got infected with corrupted blood, which was a very powerful... Well, that's the thing. It wasn't an incredibly powerful disease, but it was a contagious disease. And if you were in a raiding group, it was minor damage. But the gimmick of it was that fight was you were meant to get corrupted blood. The whole mechanic was the boss had a lot of HP, but he drains your blood to heal himself. What if you're corrupted blood? Oh, he kills himself. So the idea was deliberately spread around the plague,
Hey, Omni, one second.
and then kill the boss.
It's time to pick another class, so maybe we'll just look at some of their mechanics, since I don't know if in 15 minutes we can beat one, but...
Yeah. So... Yes, it was. Centers for Disease Control and a couple of other people for pandemiology used it as an example to talk about the psychology of people in a disease.
We already did Warlock. We've done Warlock and Priest, and also Shaman, Warrior, and Paladin are out. So that leaves 4 Hunter, Rogue, Mage,
so you've been
and Druid.
You've been requested to just look at them. I think Druid would be the one that I want to see. But,
Okay.
I'll say a little bit more. The way Corrupted Blood worked was that, like I said, it spread around, but the trick was that a hunter pet could be dismissed while it was infected with the blood, and when it came back it still had the debuff, so you could bring it out of the instance.
Malfurion versus the Lich King!
Alright,
I must protect the wild.
let's see what his Druid...
Your anguished cries will be a testament to my legend-level
Alright, and then for that matter, actually, we'll go see the 3 slotted, just because I saw Paladin, but I didn't actually see Shaman or Warrior what they does, but... Alright, what's your gimmick here?
I will dismantle your deck, and then your
It's Crush Card Virus, only in reverse.
Destroy all enemy minions that cost 3 or less wherever they... Okay, so... Whoops, I was playing aggro.
Virus.
Enemy minions that cost 3 or less wherever they... Okay, so just... Which... actually means if I'm doing some kind of stupid combo nonsense, this helps me draw into it. Or draw my answers. Does this just say minions? That's actually really interesting. I could do something fun with that, but let's go see the other
I
ones.
concede.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Eradicator Epidemic Virus was that one. Actually, hang on, was it?
No, isn't it just straight up Crush Card Virus?
Crush Card Virus only destroys strong monsters.
Oh, then it's Deck Devastation. No, wait, that's spells
Yeah,
and
Deck
traps.
Devastation Virus is the one that destroy all monsters with 1500 or less attack. And then the third one was Eradicator Epidemic Virus, which is spell or trap cards.
Alright, so what do we have besides Druid? Rogue?
Maiev versus
So,
the Lich King!
I've heard people say this is the most fair, interesting one.
Fury.
I don't know what it is. Also, this is a mill deck, which probably isn't going to work here.
To my legend-level
You never know.
play.
I mean, if he, busts out Looming Presence, then it busts him up. We're nearly finished President Arc. We have cleared Warlock and Priest, and we're going to wrap it up within like 10 minutes. This is just, what do they all do?
Yep, we're just looking at his gimmicks.
Come out of the shadows, Rogue. Where would you be without your...
Oh no. Is it destroy spells? Destroy every spell in your opponent's hand and deck.
Yep.
Your pathetic magic betrays you. By the way, mill's not working if you're doing that.
Yep. That's an
Again,
interesting
thanks for
deck-building
destroying
challenge.
cards so I can get spells this way. But that's kind of rude when it means Actually, that kind of gets rid of any
He has...
combos.
Abyss has 12 cards in his deck. He drew 3
Wait,
and lost...
Swashbuckler made the coin.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, that's what it does in bosses.
Smart move.
Yeah, run a bunch of spells to thin out your deck to perfect curve. The problem is, like, this is a boss that kind of mandates removal when sometimes he'll just on late game turns go, well, like, first of all, how do you deal with giant board of 2 6s and his invincible weapon?
Yeah, that is the question.
Secondly, like, what do you do when he just goes, Guy, Bone Merit?
Yeah, that is the other question.
Alright, what else have we got here? Yeah, okay, Doomsayer is still an answer, fine. I
Yeah,
guess that's fair.
Doomsayer. Uh-huh.
So, let's see Hunter now. I think I actually know what this one is, and I think I know what's about to happen. I think this is going to be a quick fight.
Rexar versus the Lich King!
Let the hunt begin. Is that your deck? It looks like a plea for help.
As for Druid, I think you could make a ramp Druid build that worked.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any 3-drops? Well, I'm just going to play...
Ramp Druid with free thinning seems pretty good.
Yeah, no, I guess I just
Strip away your
play
little friends,
crap ton
and
of
what
big
is left
creatures
to
that you can't
oppose
deal with.
them.
Okay, so what's the Hunter one? Deal 2 damage to your opponent for each minion in their deck. Blammo, take 22? Huh.
Yep.
So actually, I'm not dead? Maybe there's hope?
Oh, please, Kaiba had more honor, Irish nonsense.
I should meet you.
Sure.
QB, pretending you're aggro druid and protecting a fledgling works with most classes.
Health? Divine Shield's fine. He's gonna go face, though, right?
Winter is here.
Probably.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Smelled blood.
I don't even know what that's doing in this deck, but... Hold on.
What's it doing in that deck?
Now, how the hell does Hunter deal with his flood the board turn? Oh, you do some kind of... I don't know, Hunter's Mark only gets rid of one thing. I'm sure it involves Unleash the Hounds, but I just... Oh, Doomsayer, right. Again, that's the answer for every single one of these fights, is Doomsayer.
Yep.
Guess what's not in my deck, so I'm gonna lose.
Doomsayer.
Yeah,
Oh, hey, it's Huffer.
it's always Hoffer.
Isn't it usually the 2-4 that sucks?
Oh, Acid Maw, Unleash the Hounds, of course. That's actually pretty clever.
I'm in favor of Acid Maw Unleash the Hounds. QB wonders if Vanish works on Frostborn.
Well, you don't get spells in the Rogue one, so good luck with that. Skeletons.
None shall.
Okay, Black Knight.
And now you're going to get crushed.
Oh yeah, definitely. Play a beast. Okay.
To my side.
It's not a bad one.
Again, if this was not for the Frostborn turn, you'd be in a not a bad position to maybe win.
Oh, I'm at 6 life. I die to his hero power in like 3 activations.
Okay, that's true. And you're gonna die pretty damn soon now.
Oh yeah, we're done here. Alright, so which other ones have we not shown? So we did 2, we showed off 3, so that's 5. Leaving...
Mage.
Yeah,
Mage is
right.
the one they spoiled a while ago, though.
Yeah, they did spoil mage, and we can show that.
Otherwise known as play Reno Mage or something. Or,
Yeah, except,
well, you'd actually be... How would you build a mage deck to beat him with the gimmick?
Reno Jackson and as much board control as you can probably put in there.
Anti-heal bots, probably.
The Lich
Actually.
King!
I don't know.
Like, you know, it might be actually worthwhile to try and go Exodia Mage.
Is that your deck?
If you could
It
muster
looks
a way
like
to
a
do it.
plea for help.
Well, let's see what the... We're sort of already talking about what it is, but... Oh, yeah,
Molten
Mistress
Giant
of
also
Mixers, but no,
really...
yeah, no, play Molten Giant in this fight.
And I have heard,
I don't
apparently
know.
he has a unique line if you, get to 3...
I alone hold sway over the bitter chill
If you get
of
a
death.
mana bind here, or counterspell.
Yep, go to 1. Yeah, we're not really equipped for that here. The problem with that is just when it gets to, ways to steal his dumb cheaty cards. Exercise to the viewer. Let's see. Yeah, it's, there's a mage 1-drop. Your next secret costs 0, and then you play Mana Bind together with it. And, you want to do that? Oh, but he still has 30 armor, though.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. It might actually be better to counterspell it, actually.
Yeah. Probably. So yeah, that's interesting. So, let's see, what else do we have? So, we just have the 3 Slyo showed off now, right? So we have... I saw Paladin, so we can maybe do that last if we just want to show it off. I have not seen Shaman or Warrior, so... Let's go into these and start maybe brainstorming. Okay.
Morgul versus the Lich King!
Hey, Slyo. We're just wrapping things up. We did 2 of them, Priest and Warlock, and, we're just sort of examining the other ones. We actually just finished going through the other 4 of the 6 you didn't do, so now we're just looking at the 3 you did. So, here's Shaman.
And I got to explain lots and lots of World of Warcraft lore and history.
So,
I'm happy.
let's see what the Shaman gimmick is.
Your minions cower in terror before me, Shaman.
All my minions become 1/1. They're hand and deck, not board. Interesting. Yeah, again, have to board in Doomsayers for this because, like, literally almost every single class in this friggin'...
You gotta be careful with Doomsayer, though, because he can kill it now.
Oh. No, he can't. Oh, with his weapon. Dang, Doomsayer doesn't
It's a
even work.
1/1 now.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, Shaman has other board clearing answers, like
My final
elemental
thoughts
destruction.
are, I don't know how it is with all of them, but some of these challenges seem a lot better than others. Like, it's...
Yes, I'm still a little disappointed in Priest, but it still took me 45 minutes to do that one, so... Alright.
Yeah, it's... I've said it once, but one of the ways to I think about difficult... Warrior.
Yeah.
One of the ways I think about difficulty is something is hard depending on how many options you have to overcome it. So, you know, we were talking about this, talking about how, why is it that Starfang is so much harder than the other two? Well, it's because there's only one way to overcome it, which is weapon damage. There's a couple of ways to do weapon damage, but you have many fewer options than Merogar or what's her face?
Lanethel?
It's Death Whisper.
Oh, Death
Like
Whisper.
Death Whisper, there are fewer options, but they're presented to you and given to you, and they're much easier to deal with. Whereas you sort of have to not only go weapons, but you have to invent a way for those weapons to work for you. Here, with the Lich King...
You will make a marvelous Death Knight once I have broken you.
Gain 100 armor. Okay.
So it's just Lich King with 160 health. Yeah.
Yeah, we're Pirate Warrior. We can bust through all that, right?
No. But that's the thing about,
I mean,
the Lich King.
deck's gonna have problems in the phase change again, but...
Ooh, Fatigue Warrior.
Yeah, you basically... Well, no, even Fatigue, that's really bad because of his hero power.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's just about the only thing I can think of that would actually would help you stack up enough damage. I don't know Warrior well enough, to be fair, though.
Yeah, no, his hero power is
I know,
geometric growth.
I saw it!
Yeah,
It's not geometric, it's a linear increase as well.
Right. Anyway, I don't know why I'm even doing any of this. So, yeah, there's...
So that's the thing, is that the turn 7 play, like, absolutely mandates you have an answer. And...
So...
That's kind of, in fact, one of my problems with the Lich King to a certain extent, is that it feels like if it was just a straight fight, it would be a lot better in some respects, because it was like, oh, well, I have to figure out a way to do this. And some of the gimmicks seem fair. Like, you know, the Rogue one and the Druid one are an interesting deck-building experiment, because it lets you do some interesting things. But the Warrior one just seems boring. It's like, oh, well, I either do some sort of Infinity Fatigue build, or I go Sithun, or I do something that deals enough damage to him.
Yeah, also, again, the Priest one, which is literally no gimmick, took us 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, this guy doesn't play around even when he doesn't have a gimmick going for him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, is that he already has a gimmick in that turn 7, and then geometric progression of death.
Nothing will protect you.
Yeah, so, lastly, this is the one I had seen before this. Paladin, this easily is, like, the most difficult, I think. Whenever an enemy dies this game, take control of it.
Yeah.
Like, you play minions with big on-death downsides, like Ticking Abomination and Bomb Squad, or...
Like, that's the thing, is, like, some of these are interesting challenges, but another of them is, well, it's hard because you don't have options.
Right,
like this is Hearthstone. You play minions, and you have to find a way to win without playing many minions. And that's just kind of stupid.
Wait, I'm being told you can't Exodia Paladin this guy?
What is Exodia Paladin?
Exodia Paladin is a deck built around playing the Paladin Death Knight card and playing all 4 horsemen in one turn. Literally Exodia.
President Arc says that when you get the third of them out, he kills it, and that's... Okay, that actually kind of makes me fucking angry. Like, it's like, okay, so how do you kill him? Well, let's contrive a combo that lets me win the game without attacking with minions, and the game stops you. That seems really stupid.
Yeah, no, that's, I'm going to just make your Alex Straza not work levels of bad.
Like, you know, okay, I can't Mindbender him. Okay, I don't want to fundamentally undercut the fight. But, okay, I go through all this trouble, I summon the 4 horsemen in one turn, and he stops me? That's stupid. That is actually stupid, quite frankly. As Slyo points out, no, that combo sounds like it would be a pain in the neck to pull off in the first place.
Yeah, so...
And you need to get out the Paladin Death Knight, and you need to be in a position where you could do it, and you'd probably need to have gotten your way past the Frostmourne turn, and then he says, no, that seems wrong. Like, this is so unevenly designed. It's very Blizzard in that respect, where some of it is brilliant and the rest of it just kind of dribbles in and needs a couple more tightening ups, and they probably never will.
Yeah, no, because they instead of spending money on balancing their bosses, they spent a ton of money making a CGI 3-minute something commercial. Or was it like 5 minutes?
For Here's the Storm.
No. I mean, like, they did a Hearthstone animated short that's literally a bunch of people singing about why you should play Hearthstone.
Yeah, and they also did an animated action sequence for the upcoming Heroes of the Storm event.
Oh. Well, yeah, but anyways, so those are the classes.
Lich King, like, I think a lot of Ice Crown is pretty good, but, like, the Lich King is, like... I think the majority of the Lich King is dumb, frankly.
Right.
It's not tough. Like, again, if it literally was just his 3 hero powers and the Frostmourne turn, I'd be fine with him. That would be a good, interesting adaptation of the Lich King fight. But then they decided to go in and went, oh, well, he's like a cheaty legend douchebag, so let's give him cheaty legend powers and make it different for... Like, oh, let's make it different for every class. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, hang on. You suddenly have 9 more bosses, but all of them play the same way, and they're differentiated by gimmicks that are varying degrees of bad.
I'd probably rate the ones we did at about... Heroic Kel'Thuzad or maybe Heroic Nefarian. They're not quite at like reroll, wow, this sucks, I didn't draw exactly what I need to reroll like Heroic Skelesaurus Hex is.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the Paladin one being that level of bad.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem, is like, previously the gimmick was, well... this is not what you're supposed to be doing to a certain extent. Heroics were the second pass, the afterthought. What did you get for Heroics? Well, you didn't get cards. Like, this was just a vanity thing. It's like Second Coil Savage, where it was similarly brutally unfair in FF14. But, here, like, this is the main event, is here are all 9 of it, and some of them are Heroic Skelesaurus Rex or Heroic General Dracasath.
Yeah.
Like, previously you had to go out of your way to choose to do this, but here it's...
No, I'm thinking this is close to Heroic Dracasath level of bad, because Dracasath was a fight where if you weren't going to cheese it, you needed specific cards, or you didn't have a shot in hell. That's basically applicable here as well.
And I didn't 100% mind, like, saying Heroic Dracasath is like that. I think he's probably way above board. But again, this is a thing that they basically said, well, you will pretty much need a very specific deck to do that. And then you go to Ice Crown, and it's like, oh, it's going to be harder than normal, but easier than Heroic. And this is a big pitch, and they're talking about this, but I think part of it also is that, like, none of the previous ones were quite this stringent, I guess is the way to put it.
Right. Also, the fact is that they just said, let's just reuse the same boss 9 times and throw in a gimmick, not realizing that, like, it's definitely harder for certain classes than others, and probably didn't balance test it as well. They're just like, yeah, that sounds like a gimmick for this class, that sounds like a gimmick for this class. I don't know how much playtesting
Fennec and
went
President
into this.
Arc make a right point, that, like, it's free and given to everyone, and that the rewards are pretty much cosmetic and very small. But the problem is that it still feels poorly designed for a lot of them. Like,
they're free. I understand that it doesn't have to be good, but that doesn't change the fact that they're bad. And as Sly9 mentions in the chat, a new player just showing up and doing these, like,
would be pummeled.
Yeah, absolutely. Even for me, I had trouble winning until I just decided, well, what are all the dumb wild legends I can throw in here? Okay, here's Sylvanas, Dr. Boom, Ragnaros, Kel'Thuzad, cool.
And this is the thing, is that the difficulty curve is stupid. Like, there are some of the previous bosses that were tough, but I could actually see a couple of different ways of winning them. I really don't see a lot of different ways of winning the Paladin one, for instance.
Yeah, no, I think the plan there, I guess I had an idea in my mind I didn't try, is just take the dumbest minion that you don't care if he gets a copy of it when your thing dies, and just throw a million buffs on it.
Yeah, it's... yeah.
And even then, the problem is, he plays a card that just says 2 mana, destroy target minion.
It's a little better because you're not paying for it, but that doesn't stop it from being bad, I think is the way to put it.
Yeah.
It's... honestly, if they had, like, 3 different versions of the Lich King, like, one for each... I don't know, maybe they have 3 different versions of the Lich King, one for each phase of the fight. That might be a way to do it. Like, have the Falling Platform phase, have the Break into the Frostmourne and Free the Heroes phase, have the standard Defile, Necrotic Plague, Ghouls phase. Like, make the entire last phase the Lich King. And then focus on making 3 really good, interesting, hard but fair encounters.
Right, yeah. No, it's really that Frostmourne turn where this fight goes from manageable to, okay, yes, this is a tricky gimmick, I can build a deck around it, to, okay, this is dumb BS.
And even then, if you had unlimited latitude to invent a way around the Frostmourne turn, I think I'd feel a little better. But, like, what does Rogue do when they have no spells? Like, it's... same thing with Shaman. Like, Doomsayer is the default option for a bunch of people, but you still have to dance around it. Like, it's a lot easier to deal with it with some classes than other classes, and if that was deliberate design, like, so many of these bosses are like, oh, well, it's easier with these classes and harder with these classes. It would be possible. It's... I think their conceit ran away from them. The idea the Lich King is different for all the 9 classes, I think that's where the problem started. Because I could basically say going into this, that sounds like it would be a pain in the ass to balance. And it looks like it was.
So, kind of a bit of a jump, but this actually reminds me of a problem I've spoken about many times about the Sonic the Hedgehog 3D game franchise, in which they make a level, and then they decide, well, how do we add replay value? Let's make this level playable multiple times with all the different characters. And it's not really designed for all the different characters, and they just tweak things slightly for the different characters, and then things are kind of bad. Probably the most egregious example is a game called Sonic 06. But the thing is, you build a thing once, and then you just reuse it over and over again for lots of different things, is not as well designed or fine-tuned as let's build one thing for one specific purpose. Yeah, Sonic Heroes is another bad example of that, but...
yeah, Sonic... yeah,
at least in Heroes, the different teams basically play the same, as opposed to Sonic 06, which is like, well, this was clearly a stage designed for Sonic for a Mach speed. Let's put Shadow on a bike here and see what happens.
And Sonic Heroes, like, it still has the problem of, like, they would have several teams that played slightly differently, and then they have a completely different challenge for Team Chaotix, and it would be, like, trash on a lot of levels.
Yeah, I mean, there was that. I think their fundamental mechanics bad, but, like, even Sonic Adventure... like, the thing is just level reuse doesn't work as well as specifically catered levels to different gameplay styles, basically. And this feels much more like we used the same bits and pieces.
It's funny because Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 actually didn't have this problem so much.
Adventure 1 did. They reused a ton of stages. Everybody else just got Sonic stages, but Adventure 2 had its own custom design stages, and I think it was better for it. But, yeah. Anyways, but we're getting kind of off in the weeds here, but yeah, game design here, they're definitely could have tightened things up. Now,
it feels like if they wanted to do all 9, they needed to do a lot more work, rather than just going with, I think, oh, it's free, so it's okay, I think is probably the defense that they had in mind. And the end result is, they didn't put enough effort into it.
Yeah, also Slyo, you said the priest one's blank because mind vision exists. I suggest you just go and watch the stream archive for this one because priests almost makes me kind of mad what it is, but I guess I won't spoil if you don't want to see it yet. So anyways, I think we should probably start wrapping this up. So first of all, thank you for putting up with this for about 2 hours of these miserable fights. I think that was probably a smart plan to just do 2 instead of trying to do all of them. And thank you as well for explaining all the lore on me.
Yeah.
Also, I do plan to try all the other 7 eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to be on stream or if it's just going to be on my own with anybody else or not. If you or Sly or anybody else wants to join me on stream, if I end up doing them on stream, you're welcome to. But,
send me a line.
yeah. For now, though, I think we've taken enough of a look at all these.
So
But-
what did you get as a drop? Because I got the Archhammer of Menethil, or whatever it's called.
What?
Oh, we killed the Lich King, so we get his drops.
Oh, well, I got that pack that I opened, golden, yeah, this was my drops, were an exploding bloat bat, a spirit lash, a necrotic geist, and a golden phantom freebooter.
Okay, well, I got the War Mace of Menethil, and Storm Fury, Black Bladed Betrayer.
So nothing for priests?
The Warhammer of Menethil?
Oh, okay. So anyways, I think that's about enough for today. So thank you everybody for joining, and have a good day, everybody. Later.
Ciao, ciao.